There are two sides to the rise in food insecurity that we're seeing these days. There are people who are struggling to keep food on the table, and there are the food pantries, many very small and local, which are scrambling to keep the shelves stocked. We visit a food collection effort in Potsdam, where people drop off food to help. That's today's story of the day.
Support for Story of the Day comes from the Clarkson School, offering advanced high school-age students the opportunity to start college early at Clarkson University. clarkson.edu/TCS.
Hey, I'm David Sommerstein. It's Friday, July 24th. First up, the case of a rabid beaver biting two men on Lake George this summer is drawing attention to rabies treatment. Although rabies can be deadly, it's preventable with awareness and a few simple precautions. NCPR intern Iram Tuana Chifchi reports.
On July 4th, a man from Burlington and his friends went for what they thought would be a typical day on Lake George. But while swimming near Turtle Island, he and one friend were bitten by a beaver that may have had rabies. The State Department of Environmental Conservation issued an advisory shortly after the incident and held a press conference. Jackie Landrum from the DEC said it's nearly impossible to confirm that beaver had rabies.
There's lots of beavers in and around Lake George. And so for us to trap a particular beaver and know that we got the one would really be impossible.
Instead, Landrum said the DEC is focusing on educating people about how to avoid wildlife that may be infected with rabies. She said a healthy beaver would normally avoid people and swim away. If a beaver approaches a person instead, that's unusual behavior and people should keep their distance.
We're visitors in their home and we shouldn't be approaching them. We shouldn't be climbing on a beaver lodge. We shouldn't be trying to get closer to get better pictures, that sort of thing. Just give them some space.
Kevin Hines, also from the DEC, said rabies is relatively uncommon in beavers because the virus doesn't adapt well to them. He said raccoons and bats are the most common rabies carriers in New York.
In raccoons, they are very often transmitting it to other raccoons or any mammal that they come across. So any mammal is susceptible to rabies infection.
In Essex County, 3 animals have tested positive for rabies this year. 1 skunk, 1 raccoon, and 1 fox. St. Lawrence and Lewis counties each reported 1 rabid raccoon last week. Carly Zimmerman with the St. Lawrence County Public Health Department says it was the county's first rabies case of the year. She says there were 8 cases last year, including 1 skunk and 7 raccoons.
We're not quite at a point yet where we can say, this is statistically significantly higher versus just that normal variation.
Zimmerman says rabies is almost always fatal for both animals and humans, but it's entirely preventable with post-exposure treatment. She says people should notify their local health department if a wild animal comes into contact with them or their pets to determine whether treatment is needed. Rabies treatment isn't cheap. Shots can cost more than $4,000. But you don't have to pay all that. Zimmerman says the county helps cover the cost.
As far as billing, it would go through the person's insurance, and then we would cover the rest of that cost because we don't want any financial reason to be a reason why someone doesn't get treatment.
Zimmerman also recommends keeping pets up to date with pre-exposure vaccinations. She says pets can easily get into homes through open windows or small openings, especially during hot summer weather. The New York State Department of Health is offering free and low-cost rabies vaccination clinics for pets through county health departments throughout the summer. For North Country Public Radio, I'm Iram Tuana Chifchi in Canton.
This week, Franklin County announced new confirmed rabies cases in a fox and a raccoon after reporting 3 cases earlier this summer. Officials urge anyone who's bitten by or has had contact with a wild animal to contact their local health department. New York Republicans are calling for a hearing on the state's voter registration infrastructure. It's in response to news from New Jersey that a software glitch by an outside vendor led to around 400 non-citizens voting in the Garden State. Assemblyman Matt Slater is a Westchester County Republican. He says he was surprised by the news from New Jersey.
I think that should give us reason to pause and reevaluate and recalibrate.
Democrats who control the state assembly didn't comment on the call for a hearing. The New York State Board of Elections says it has a different registration process than New Jersey, and there's no indication of any errors. A lot of people are struggling to make ends meet right now. Prices are high, and it's getting more difficult to afford the basics, including groceries. Yesterday, we visited the Urban Mission in Watertown, which has seen a sharp increase in the number of families in need of help. In part 2 of our series, we stop in St. Lawrence County, where a volunteer food collection event helps food pantries stock up to meet the increased demand. Catherine Wheeler was there and has our story.
Soups and chili, so I probably put some in somewhere.
Under a big white tent in the Potsdam Walmart parking lot, 24 tables are piled with food and toiletries.
The lighter stuff, throw it on top.
Each looks like a miniature grocery store. Cans of vegetables, instant noodles, jars of peanut butter, paper towels, body wash. People are driving up to drop off bags of food. Volunteers have their hands full and are walking table to table, sorting through the goods.
We've been accepting donations from members of the community to support 21 food pantries serving families across St. Lawrence County.
That's Dawn Cole. She's the CEO of the United Way of Northern New York.
This is really going to be a big help to local pantries to help them prepare for what will be a peak season in July and August when the kids are out of school.
The United Way has hosted events like this one in Jefferson and Lewis counties for years. This is the first one in St. Lawrence County. Cole says as the need for help has grown, the United Way has decided to expand its reach.
We know that the poverty rate is high here, food insecurity is high, and so it was important to us to spend more time in St. Lawrence County talking with community partners, kind of rallying the troops, gathering support, building awareness, and hosting this initiative.
Food insecurity levels in the U.S. are rising. Right now, they're higher than they were during the first summer of the COVID-19 pandemic. That's according to the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. The data shows it's particularly straining lower educated and lower income households and families with young children. 1 in 6 families are using food pantries to make ends meet. Tammy Save runs Helping Hands, a nonprofit based in Hannibal Falls.
I'd say it's doubled, especially for the soup kitchen. Yeah, and there's a huge increase into the food pantry itself.
Save says she expects the need to increase even more in the coming months. Last year, President Donald Trump and Congress made sweeping cuts to the federal food assistance program, SNAP. Those changes are now kicking in, including new work requirements to receive benefits. In the North Country, about 5 to 16% of people use SNAP, and thousands could lose their benefits. Save says pantries are just beginning to see the effects.
Our client service representative is starting to track people coming in that are saying they just lost their food stamp benefits. So I think some of it, the growth that we're going to see in the near future, is going to be clients who have recently lost benefits that are coming in.
Save says that might mean new faces at the food pantry, those who didn't expect to be there, but they're here to help.
Everybody's in the same boat right now with the prices of food and gas and everything. If you need food, just stop in. It's private. We don't share that information. You're welcome to come.
At the collection event in Potsdam, the Food Bank of Central New York is here. Patty Waldner says they'll pack up all these donations and deliver them to each food pantry.
They don't have to pay for their own gas. They don't have to provide any transportation. We'll just take it to them.
Waldner says getting supplies to food pantries from the food bank's warehouse in Syracuse to St. Lawrence County can be a big challenge because of the distance. It only happens a few times a month.
It's our responsibility to remember that it's not on them to come to us. It's on us to go to them. And that's the challenge. We have the food. The food is available. It's just a matter of getting the food to the people.
The United Way says this food drive is a good first step in St. Lawrence County. Officials say they want to build more local connections to make events like this one even more impactful for the food pantries as their need continues to increase. Catherine Wheeler, North Country Public Radio in Potsdam.
We have more news all the time and through the weekend on our website, ncpr.org. Music today by Patricia Julian of Burlington and Mark Corey of Watertown. I'm David Summerstein, North Country Public Radio.